What's going on, guys? This is Franz with Forge Home Consulting. This is my friend and a client, Eddie. So, would you mind telling everyone how we met?
Yeah, so I would say I was in the market to buy a new home, and I was looking for kind of all different options. So one particular that interested me was the no down payment loan products. And so I came across a website, and funny enough, I saw a testimonial from one of my friends, and she had just purchased a home. And so, I registered with the website, right? And then I texted her, and I was like, "Hey, is this you? Like, this has to be you." So she was telling me, she's like, "Yeah, I can put you in touch with a realtor." It was a very good experience, positive experience. And I purchased a home that I really like, and I've been there for a little bit over 6 months now. And so that was a while back. And then I circled back to Franz, I would say kind of like late last year.
Yeah, I think it took about 6 months before you actually came back and started.
I was, very just kind of conflicted on whether I was going to go through buying a home or not. And then eventually I just had to kind of pull the Band-Aid off and go for the process.
So how has that helped you, I guess, with where you are now, having to do obviously zero down payment and very little money out of pocket to buy this house? And I think if I'm right, you did $0 out of pocket.
Yeah. So if people want to be very technical, I did have to put down the earnest money, but I got it right back once the transaction closed. Right. So through and through, I mean, it was a net zero contribution to the home buying process. And kind of being on the other side, I think it was a very positive experience. Okay. And I don't know why, when I hear about mortgages, it's just not promoted as much. You don't necessarily have to have the most amazing credit score. Like my scores are pretty strong, but I think the product that I use,
it didn't really help as much, right? Like you having, even if people have like 800 credit score, it doesn't really dictate the interest or your closing costs as much, right?
Exactly. So. It's a product that I think most people can qualify for.
Yep.
And so a lot of them are oriented towards first-time home buyers, which it just so happened that I was a first-time home buyer, but for that product in particular that I was using, or that I used, or I guess I'm currently still using, it didn't require you to be a first-time home buyer, which is pretty awesome, because it kind of leads me to be a little more creative down the line and kind of get ideas. Really good product, really good experience, and I think it was a really important first step for me to take.
Well, with you being in finance and knowing numbers, right? And obviously there's a lot of myths out there, like where parents, maybe an uncle that bought a house 30 years ago telling you, hey, you should put as much down payment as you can to lower your monthly payment. And with you being in finance and doing what you just did, buying a house with no money out of pocket, using zero down program, how can you leverage that, and how can you educate people what you just learned using this program?
Yeah, so I think, to kind of just put a general statement out there, I think what's most important is that you have to really just figure out what your goals are and kind of what you need to do to get there. So for example, if you put down a higher down payment, of course, that reduces your monthly payments, by whatever, amount you bring it down towards. But to just kind of speak clearly, right, zero down payment does mean that you're typically going to pay for a higher monthly note. And so it just depends on what your goals are. Now for me, luckily I've worked hard to put myself in a position where I do have pretty strong income. And so that means you can qualify for more home and, respectively more loan. And I was like, no, I want a certain type of property within a certain range. And so it's not just about what you qualify for, but it's also about what can you afford. And for me, kind of being a little bit more entrepreneurially leaning, you need a little bit more cushion, I would say.
That's right.
From kind of what you're spending to, so that let me just buy a home that was a little bit more, on the lower end. But with that said, I also I was thinking from not only I would say an owner occupant
Yeah.
hat, but then also the investor hat. And the investor hat was more so, okay, I got to buy in a certain neighborhood that's, growing, kind of going through a process of being revitalized.
Yeah.
And so, funny enough, the home next door is a brand new vacant property,
That's
and then the one on the other side is a home that's been, remodeled, renovated.
Yeah.
So, the home that I was looking for, it kind of just checked all those boxes. And so, so back to your question, yeah, just know what you're looking for, and have a long-term strategy, of course, because things happen. And so, with that said, right, like traditionally, home buying has been kind of like a two-person income
That's right.
thing, right? Like, because you need stability, things happen, people
Yeah.
lose their job, maybe people shift down in the amount of hours that they work. So, if you're gonna get the standard home, then yeah, I would say make sure that you have a lot of stability, a lot of you're just ready for the process.
So you just mentioned entrepreneurship mindset, right? And I think when we first met, I was very big on building generational wealth or just getting out of financial bondage.
Yeah.
Right. So again, going back to the zero down payment, how does that lead to your entrepreneurship mindset of like, okay, let's put a number, for example, I kept my $50,000 in my savings because I bought a house with $0 out of pocket.
Yeah.
How can you then now expand and grow that $50,000 that you have because you didn't spend it?
Okay, perfect question. So, right now I've been in the home for a few months now, and what I'm looking to do next with it is just to rent out the other rooms. And so
That's a good one.
My goal in particular is to, at a minimum, break even. And so, having the other tenants essentially cover my mortgage note, utilities, and then, if possible, the cost of
You're kind of like
furniture,
living
right?
like a college lifestyle where you have roommates to help pay for your
Exactly.
mortgage. That's a good idea.
I'm a single guy. I don't have a family or even a goldfish, right?
Yeah.
So it's just me.
That's right.
It's just me.
So you have sacrifices that you're willing to do to get to where you want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what that allows me to do is it allows me to essentially kind of pocket the majority of my take-home earnings. And so, in addition to, house hacking is basically what it is,
Yes,
right?
that's what it is. Yep.
And I mean, I have a paid off car as
Yep.
well. So for the most part, right, like everything that I make is essentially kind of going to be savings.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow me to, take on some more entrepreneurial risks.
That's right.
But then, of course, to your point, right, like getting the zero down payment, it allowed me to not use my savings. Some people tap into their 401k to go and
That's
get
right.
to use a down payment for their mortgage, essentially, right? I didn't have to do any of that. And so, when it comes, going back to what you said as far as generational wealth, I think everybody views it as this amazing thing, and it's like, no, just do all the boring stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't buy the baller home, buy not even the pre-starter home. There's always
That's right.
a ugly home that you kind of get into first, just like that ugly car that everybody first started off with. So that's where you start. Then what do you do next? You get your 3 to 6 months, and then you get up to a year. You get the life insurance. You get the Roth, the 401k. This is not financial advice. It's not financial advice. But you just do all the things that kind of just take time and discipline, and you kind of just keep your head down. And then one day you wake up and it's like, oh, okay, wow, things are looking better.
That's right.
And then now I can, pursue that entrepreneurial, venture
That's
that I
right.
want to. So
Yeah, because I mean, for us, like it took us a while to get to where we're at. Like I remember, like our first house was 125. College students using the grant from school to pay for the down payment, and then come to find out, there's like, oh shoot, there's down payment assistance out there that can help you buy a house with no money out of pocket. So it was just the sacrifices that we were willing to do before we had a kid to reach the goal that where we want to be, right? And I think real estate and financial kind kind of goes hand in hand depending on how you want to structure things, right? Looking at your budget, right?
Yep.
How much house can you afford, right? Should you buy a new car, right? But yeah, I mean, there's definitely that power of that zero down payment to help achieve your future goals financially, right? And it's just a matter of asking yourself this question. It's like, what are you willing to do to get to where you want to be? Right? Because obviously you don't need money. You just need to meet the requirements of like the down payment assistance programs or any loans out there really in general.
Right.
It's all about requirements. Credit score, debt to income ratio, are you W-2? Are you 1099, right? So it's super easy to buy a house, and I think you just experienced that. Obviously you had good standing overall, but even then, you know, it's like, what are you willing to do to meet those requirements, right? And
For sure. And it was funny, you know, kind of looking back on the process. It was really quick. Like I remember we looked at a couple homes, and 4 days later I was like, okay, let's make an offer on this one. Boom.
Yep, that's right.
Because I knew exactly what I wanted, and you know, my housing goals, you know, aligned with my long-term goals essentially. So that made it really easy. But yeah, I think, you know, there's a new buzzword. So we got generational wealth out the way, but now there's like being intentional. You know? So yeah, I think just being intentional, right? I'm gonna punch that one in there. But I think once you're in alignment with all of that, then it's really easy. You know, you mentioned kind of your background. Like my background, nobody really owned a home for the most part. And so it wasn't like a process that I was familiar with.
Yeah.
Funny enough, many people in my family do have a real estate background, but it's kind of in property management. So
Gotcha. Okay.
not necessarily the same, although adjacent. But yeah, you know, the process, I think it was pretty transformative. And the last couple of months I've been traveling, kind of moving around a lot. And so, you know, I finally got settled.
I could tell because the neighbors were calling me. Can you tell the realtor,
Yeah.
the listing agent, said, can you call your buyer? Because there's a fridge outside and
Oh, yeah.
it's just sitting there for the last 3 hours and somebody's
Yeah.
about to steal it. You know, it's like, okay, let me call him. It's like, okay, he's not answering.
Funny enough, I think they stole my desk. So
You left it outside?
well,
That's more of like giving it away than stealing.
it was outside for like 2 or 3 days. And
Okay.
so yeah, I saw the chair. It's like, you're gonna take the desk, take the chair.
Yeah.
So they left me the chair, but they took the desk, I guess. So but yeah, no, so the grass started to get a little long, and I was like, oh man, I guess I gotta cut the grass now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's there's buying the home, but then there's things that come with it as
Yeah.
well that you know, nobody tells you in a manual or anything.
That's right. Kind of just have to go through with the flow.
Yeah,
right?
and so you know, it's a learning process, but I think it's something that it's better if you do it sooner than later. You know, you mentioned college. Like I wish back when I was in college, I would have just taken a little bit of FAFSA money or whatever it was, and use that and put that on a down payment or something.
Have your friends just rent from
Exactly.
you, right? It's like, hey, come on, yeah, let's party here in my house.
Right. Would have graduated like 60K in equity or
That's
something,
right.
something to that effect.
But
So
you never know. You probably would have dropped out too. I'm kidding.
maybe.
It's like, oh man, I bought a house. Let me borrow another grant real quick.
But no, that's the thing though, right? Like there's the you know, good grades, good job, good school, you know, all of that, right? Like I went through it. I'm a product of it, and sure, like things have turned out pretty well for me, but nobody teaches you about, you know, the power of real estate and you know, what you could essentially do with it and how far you could take it. And so, you know, having gone through this process, you met my buddy who was there. Hassan. Okay, yeah. So you met Hassan, and you know, now we're partnering on real estate. So
there you go.
We're getting ready to kick off our first fix and flip
That's
in
awesome.
a few months.
I think it comes from that background too, right?
Yeah. He has more of a property management, and then he's done some fix and flips as well.
Okay.
Another, you know, another market. So excited to kick that off, and yeah, you know, just kind of jumping on all things real estate. So
that's amazing to hear. I guess last thing I would ask is like when you first heard about this, I know you did see a testimonial video from your friend, but did you think it was a scam? Did you think it was possible, or how far of reach was it when you first learned about it?
No, like my friend, she's a pretty solid person.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, oh, is this a scam? For me, I just thought, okay, this looks pretty cool. Like, what's going on here? And, how can I get in on this?
That's right.
And so, from there, it was just kind of one step at a time. But, I'm somebody who's kind of always willing to try something, especially if, it's going to be a good experience. So
yeah,
I figured, why not?
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you trusting me throughout this whole process. I know, again, a lot of people telling buyers, hey, do this a certain way, right? But you did trust me in every single thing that I basically said to you, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was calling you like after work. I was like, yo, like what's going on with the offer that they said? The mortgage lender, they said this. What do you think about that? Like, yeah, no, this guy, he was all over it. So,
and I think I told you like, make sure you don't buy an expensive home.
Right.
Start here and then start going up.
And you know what? On that subject, all of this has been quite a change for me because, like, I was living in a high rise in the museum district, so life was amazing, But I was paying about $2,000 a month, I guess. Almost 25K for the year just to live in something I'm not building equity in. And I just felt like I had to make a change.
That's
and
right.
So, with that said, I think this has been the right step. And, just like with anything in life, I think the first time you do something, like if you can do it well or get a good deal on the first one, like it kind of sets the tone, for
everything. Yeah.
What comes next, right?
That's
so, hopefully things plan out that way, but that's kind of what I've seen. So
yeah, I think it's a matter of like having that mindset, knowing that not everything's gonna go your way, and just kind of just be ready for it. I'm not saying that, because a lot of people that get into the real estate business, it's like they get one house and then things didn't go their way. It's like, oh no, they're gonna tell everyone. It's like real estate is not great, right? But in reality, it's like, okay, how much profit did you make? Yeah, you had that headache, but how much profit did you make? Right. So, but yeah, I mean, I wish you the best in your next endeavor as far as like the real estate flipping and obviously your next house with 0 down.
Yeah.
And again, if you have any questions, we're here for you, and the team's here for you to answer all your questions. So again, thanks for trusting us in this process.
For sure. Yeah, I recommend Franz. I know he's active here in Houston. I think you're active in other areas of Texas, right?
Pretty much all Texas, yeah.
There you go. And hopefully you get into your home as well.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If you need any advice or any help buying a house with very little money to no money in pocket, reach out to us here at Forge Home Consulting. Our information will be here or here. Maybe, I don't know where Mike is going to put it. But don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks, guys.